most Koreans are money and class obsessed.
And now I'm kind of scared and afraid that I'll go back to a period wherein people called me names and people looked at me in a different way.
I told them like, oh, my mom is Indonesian, and they'll be like, oh, like it's like the negative vibe. I can feel it. Like, oh, yeah.
She came up with this theory called Nouveau-riche Nationalism. Korean people aren't racist according to the color of the skin. They're racist according to the GDP of the country that people come from. So like if you're black or brown and you come from America, they're like, yay. But if you're black and brown and you come from a much poorer country, they're going to look down upon you.
Yeah, we call foreigners not like 외국인. We call foreigners like bule. Oh my god, your husband is bule? That means you've succeeded in finding
The gene pool.
finding a husband. Like you're gonna thrive in your genes and those stuff. It's regarded positive. Yeah.
I think what could bring SEAblings, Southeast Asians and Koreans together once more is hate of white people.
Oh,
Get that.
yes.
When someone's eating, like
support.
you ate.
That language is hard for me. She's cooking, that's good. She's cooked, that's bad, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ate and left no crumbs.
Yes.
She ate and left crumbs.
That's the bad one, by the way.
Yeah, she ate and left crumbs.
No.
This is so peak.
This is so big. Di mana bumi dipijak, di situ langit dijunjung.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Korea Deconstructed. We have a special episode here because to my right, there are 4 young women who have come in to talk about something that has just gripped the internet. First, here is...
Hello everyone, my name is Gabriella. I'm fully Chinese, but I've never been to China. I've spent my whole life in Indonesia, and so I am Indonesian.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nuri. My Korean name is also Duri. Yeah, and you can call me Nuri. I'm full Korean, but I grew up in the Philippines my entire life. So I am Korean, but I identify myself more as a Filipina in the cultural side.
Hey guys, my name is Yelynn and I am fully Korean. I was born and raised here. I think I can bring a bit of Korean perspectives to today's episode.
My name is Davin. I'm half Korean, half Indonesian, but I grew up like my entire life in Indonesia, so I think I lean towards more to like my Indonesian side.
It's amazing how identity is a thing where we have to sort of, and you do it so bravely, like identify who you are and what you associate with and things like this. Thank you for being so brave. And it is brave because there is this story that has gripped the internet for the last couple of weeks. And a couple of Nuri messaged me and said, Professor, we must talk about this topic. There is an online internet war going on. For those people that might not know, can we get like the 101 of what's happening first, please, online?
Gabi, I think you should go first, and then we can like add on to, because I saw her research on the notes, and I'm like, wow,
She's the master.
Yeah.
Gatseng.
It's because I'm chronically online, so I witness everything like unfolding before my eyes. So actually it started from like a concert, a K-pop concert, Day 6 in Malaysia. So
January 31.
Yes.
Right.
That's right.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
So there's this rule in Southeast Asian countries. You should not bring huge cameras, like those bazookas cameras. You shouldn't. You have to put your phone eye level if you want to record the show and whatsoever. But some Korean fans went to that concert and were reprimanded because they were bringing those cameras. And lots of Malaysian fans, they took a video of that, and it went into kind of a chaos because those Koreans were throwing middle fingers and like screaming, "Shit, be it." Actually, I think they have apologized, but that video resurfaced on Twitter mainly, and Korean.
Also, right, the cameras. In the beginning, I thought it was just one or two, but there was quite a lot of these
Yeah.
big cameras.
Yeah.
Why are you not
lot.
allowed to take cameras, bazooka cameras, to K-pop concerts? Because I thought that's what everybody did.
And like,
Mm.
I just want to confirm, like, is the rule coming from the artist itself, or like it's the
The
promoter.
countries,
or
countries.
The promoter. You can bring those cameras in Korea, but not in like Southeast Asian countries. It's like that in Indonesia. As far as I know, though.
So like all Southeast Asian countries.
In Malaysia, yes. In this case, yeah.
Malaysia, okay.
Uh-huh.
And what would be the reason? To protect the artist or to stop blocking people's views?
Because usually the areas, those are all standing
Yeah.
areas. So if you like were to bring those big camera,
Mm.
you will hit somebody.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
inevitably you will hit somebody. And so the promoters say, no, you may not bring those cameras.
I've heard about people wearing like huge high heels to these concerts, like
yeah, platform shoes.
so they can see because
Mm.
yeah. And the person that did this with the bazooka camera, as I understand, they were a Homa.
Huma?
Ma. Yeah. Like crazy fans.
Oh, fan sites.
They run a fan.
Yeah,
Fan
fan
sites.
sites.
Yeah, they're like competing who can take the
Better
best
Photos of their idea.
Do you get paid for that?
Oftentimes they sell merchandises.
Yeah, they sell. They
So yeah, they create like slogans and like fan kits, and people buy those.
Before we get into the controversy, any thoughts on day 6? So this all happened at a day 6 concert. And K-pop's quite sensitive. Like if something good or bad happens around a group, people go nuts. Can you say something about day 6 in all of this?
it's interesting that day 6 hasn't been mentioned that much, and it has been out of this debate. I think it's interesting that they didn't mention,
I don't think day 6 were being dragged.
and no official like statement from
No.
day 6.
No.
No.
Quite unusual, right?
It is. I'm very happy, guys. Stan JYP. Let's go. The bazooka camera was taken. People were angry because you're not allowed to do that. Somebody was breaking the rules. And then, having broken the rules, their photo was shared online. And that caused problems. And from there, from this incident, we've got into the last 2 weeks of horrendous racism online. How's that spiral been? How does it go from, don't break the rules, okay, I'm sorry, to where we are now?
Was it the gorilla post?
Yeah, but
There-
before that,
Uh-huh.
there's like one Korean account.
Uh-huh.
They tweeted something around like stand your own groups.
Yeah.
Why are y'all
Yeah, yeah,
into
yeah.
like K-pop? Why do
Yeah.
y'all care so much about
Uh-huh.
K-pop and Korean culture? And
Mind your
yada, yada.
business.
Mind your own business. Stand your own local groups.
So it started from that, and then since it's kind of cultural,
yeah.
it came back with like a racist.
Yeah, South Asian, East Asian people started to retaliate on Twitter, and it became a battlefield between siblings and Korea.
This word is very interesting to me. So you just said it.
Siblings.
Siblings.
Uh-huh.
Because people hearing this, they might think, brothers and sisters. But it doesn't mean that. It means, Yelynn, what does it mean?
It means it's like a solidarity between Southeast Asian countries.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They came together to support each other against South Korea.
Mm.
Yeah.
Not only to South Korea, but whenever anything happens to like, for instance, Indonesia, even Malaysian people, even Thailand people, Vietnamese and Philippines people, they will defend Indonesia as well. So not only in this case, but usually it's like that.
So they're like SEAblings.
Siblings.
Oh, really?
We've always got each other's back.
When did it start, like the sibling thing?
It's been around for like a while.
Really?
I
Yeah,
did
the
know
tradition.
that.
Really? Maybe I'm too chronically online. I don't know.
I thought there was quite a lot of rivalry in Southeast Asia amongst the group. That was my impression. What's your take on relations between Southeast Asian countries online and things like that, Dabin? The Philippines and Indonesia and Thailand, Malaysia, are they normally friends?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. But like well, I mean, like I think we're fine though. Like Southeast Asian with like Philippines, but maybe not with Malaysia. Indonesia
Oh.
and Malaysia is
So
big.
there's this thing. Indonesia and Malaysia, we always go back and forth. Like,
Oh,
who's the
yeah.
best? Who's the better country?
Mm.
You cannot take this culture from us because, like, Indonesia and Malaysia, we both try to claim some things.
Yeah.
And but whenever this kind of issues, like this mutual enemy surface, we got each other's back.
Which one is the best, Indonesia or Malaysia? Next question. You didn't answer quickly enough. You're going to get dragged from the side.
Nah, I'm not gonna say nothing.
It doesn't seem to be about the bazooka camera. It seems to be about Korean racism towards Southeast Asia. That there's an underlying issue here that's going on. So it starts with the camera, but it's about something else.
Koreans have like a weird perspective that I don't get, is that they follow the rules of, like, let's say, standing on the right side of the elevator, never taking somebody's wallet. But then I don't know where their etiquette goes when it comes to, like, stealing an umbrella, or like, it's like these two things that are like so different that like how can you like line up for I experienced this on the way here, but everyone was lining up so
yeah.
formally to get into the subway, and as soon as it opened, everyone's just pushing each other in.
I got pushed on the way here.
Yeah, same.
Bali.
Yeah, bali.
Yeah.
Let's try and explore this idea a little bit more, because my friend Jelana Jmir, she's a professor of Korean studies down in Busan. She came up with this theory called Nouveau-riche Nationalism. And in this, sorry to be a little bit academic, but she says that Korean people aren't racist according to the color of the skin. They're racist according to the GDP of the country that people come from. So like if you're black or brown and you come from America, they're like, yay. But if you're black and brown and you come from a much poorer country, they're going to look down upon you. I'm generalizing across Koreans, but for her, in her research, she's saying that Koreans aren't worried about skin color so much, but they have this sense of superiority against poorer, less developed nations.
I think it's because most Koreans are money and class obsessed. And I think, I believe it's all derived from development, how Korea developed so quickly, and also like the competitiveness among us. We have to compete to like get into a good university, to get a good job. Money is everything for us, and we always chase money in class, and that's why I think we look down on people who are not like us.
Actually, this sparked a huge debate. So there's this actor. His name is Baskara Mahendra, and he is kind of like Indonesian sweetheart.
Okay.
So he has such a positive demeanor, and like his manner is top notch. But one tweet said that this came from like a Korean. Indonesians who think this guy is handsome, come to the Korean factory. There are tons of Indonesians who look like this at the Korean factory. But can you guys even get a visa? Do you have your passports? And so this man, this actor, he did not know anything. He's not even a K-pop fan, as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he got dragged into this mess, even though he's like Indonesian sweetheart. And so everyone was like, what the heck are you talking about?
It goes to very dark topics, this internet war.
Yeah.
I've seen all the links that you've posted, and I'm almost scared for my algorithm having opened a lot of these reels and tweets, because it hits on the most sensitive points of each country, I feel like, or each region. You know, the Southeast Asians, the SEAblings, they're attacking Korea for historical trauma and war and plastic surgery and comfort women and all of this kind of
That
stuff.
was crazy.
Yeah, the comfort woman was crazy.
And also, they used a picture of a historian figure. Her name is Yu Guan-sun, who fought for our country against Japan.
Yeah.
And they compared her picture and like modern Korean woman's picture to like show how different it is, like how many Korean people get plastic surgeries.
Like in the beginning, it was like, okay, it's funny, it's sarcastic, it's racist, but okay. But then when it developed into those deep-rooted like issues and like problems wherein I would actually bring out hurtful stuff like war and all that. I
That's
think that's when it's
unacceptable.
really
They cross the line, yeah.
That's the line.
It's hard to, for those that don't know, like to use a picture of Yugon Sun in that way or An Jong-gun, it's like pissing on the flag or something like that. It's a really bad, like you don't do that in Korea. These are sacred objects,
Yeah,
like
they're
religious. It's like you don't mess with Allah or something like that, right? But you don't go there. And it's the same in Korea with these figures. And so to bring those into it, it's
crazy. It's wild.
maybe before we come back to it, as people from Southeast Asia or with that part of identity and heritage, how do you feel here in Korea? Like, because we were saying this before we started, but I get a lot of positive discrimination, right? So I'm a white guy and I'm a professor, and people like, I say one sentence in Korean and people clap and applaud and do all these things. I get a lot of positive treatment here, but I'm not a Southeast Asian in Korea. So I wonder if you have any views from that perspective.
I was just thinking of this so much that it has happened to me so many times in university, but then I would speak to them and be like, hi, my name is Nuri, and I get to know them, and they're like, and then they ask me, where are you from, like and I'm like, oh, I'm from the Philippines. I'm from Korean, but I'm from the Philippines. And for some reason, I feel like they're taken back by what I've said. And they're like, oh, Philippines? Instead of, oh, it's Philippines. They're like, oh, Philippines. Isn't it dangerous? Oop. And then they proceed to say, for that part, I kind of do get offended because what's wrong with the Philippines? I mean, it's a beautiful country, right? But this part I don't really get offended, but they ask me like, oh, but you sound like you come from America. That's what they always say. And so I'm just like, yeah, but I'm from the Philippines. Yeah. I just think that Koreans, like what you've said, Professor, like if they know that like Philippines is less developed than to Korea, right? So now they look down on the Philippines, and when I tell them I'm from the Philippines, they're also like, they tend to also look down on me, is what I feel.
I do get the same impression, especially like after I'm telling that I'm like half Indonesian. Like you're like Korean, but like grew up in Philippines, right? But like when I told them like, oh, my mom is Indonesian, and they'll be like, oh, you know, like it's like the negative vibes I'm getting.
Yeah.
Like backhanded.
They don't tell me, like I can get it, like I can feel it, like oh yeah.
The moment I introduced myself as an Indonesian, I think Korean people, they responded to that quite positively because they know Bali. Because
I love Bali. I just went there.
yeah, because there's this thing that international people know, and they feel like they can, oh, I know Bali. They can like contribute their thoughts to that. Whereas other Southeast Asian countries, you don't really hear much about them, right? They're not really that kind of exposed to the global market or something. So yeah.
I think it's because Korean people have certain stereotypes of Southeast Asian countries and people from there. I definitely think Korean people discriminate. I don't know if it's the right word, but like discriminate students from America and students from Southeast Asian country. Like even
America?
yeah, I mean like
No, America is
like compared to American
regarded
students
positively.
from America. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not all Wegukins are seen the same.
No.
Yeah.
There's levels
Yeah.
in Korea. I think I'm just guessing, and not every Korean is like that. Obviously, some are lovely and open-minded and all of this. The same with every country. I think a lot of it might be media. Like when you consume Korean movies and dramas and television, you notice how like all of the gangsters are like Joseonjok and Chinese Korean and things like this, and all of the gambling and things like that happens in Southeast Asia. There's no love stories. There might be. I might have missed one, but normally when they're doing, you know, casino or things like that, they're gonna go to Southeast Asia. They're not always gonna do it for the beautiful, heartwarming stories. And I think subconsciously that creates a an image in people's mind, which
Yeah.
is rather unfair.
Can I say something about that?
Mm.
Actually, like there was one controversy about this K drama. It's called Racket Boys. Have you heard of that?
No?
It's like a tennis or badminton.
Badminton's
K-drama?
badminton. It's a
So-
series.
So there's like
Terrible name.
so there's this one episode where the team went to Indonesia, to Jakarta for a competition, and how they picture Jakarta in that episode is hideous. So it sparked anger because like I didn't actually watch the episode, but Indonesian were angry over that because they pictured Indonesia as dirty and the staffs were rude and like bad facilities and that kind of stuff.
It's like when people talk about the Mexican filter in Hollywood movies. When they're going to show Mexico, they put this kind of like yellow filter on the camera to make everything seem like that. They do the same with China and North Korea. They'll make everything look hikey grey and drizzly and rainy. So yeah, it happens a lot, right? It's as this is going on, this internet war, does it make you question your own identity or where you are or take a side? I mean, because when you introduced yourself and the difficulties that you've faced and things like this, does it make you think, oh, I'm going to be more Indonesian or Filipino today? Or does that affect you in any way? Because I'm wondering, it must have some influence or not. You're just like, internet people.
Like when I first saw this problem, I felt hurt, and that's the reason why I went into like a number of spiraling thoughts, was because I felt, first of all, I felt sad to see like both of my countries fighting. It's not a good sight to see, especially if it's something that's about racism against each other. And speaking of racism, so it's kind of like, I grew up in the Philippines ever since I was young. So when I was really, really young, they would bully me for my eyes. They would bully me for how I look. It was so bad I'm not sure if I said this, but it was so bad to the point that I didn't know that being called Ching Chong was racist. I
What
didn't
the
know, because everyone would call me Ching Chong, and I didn't know it was. I really didn't know it was racist. It was that bad. Everywhere I go, they do this. Anyways, but then growing up, Hallyu was booming, like Korea, K-pop, and then that's when like people started to see me in a different way. And so that's when I was like, okay, like my life's not that bad. People are actually like appreciating how I look. But now this happens, and now I'm kind of scared and afraid that I'll go back to a period wherein people called me names and people looked at me in a different way. And so this happened when I was in the Philippines, like this controversy. And I don't know why, but I always felt confident going out in the Philippines. But then I kind of felt embarrassed. I felt shy to go out looking like I'm Korean because of everything that's going on. So yeah, that's how I felt. Mm-hmm.
I think that's very brave to say, because I've a couple of times characterized this as being an online war, but then it affects people's real lives, I think, doesn't it? If you're a Korean in Southeast Asia, or if you're a Southeast Asian here in Korea, you feel it at least psychologically, even if nothing physical is going to happen to you. Is it female driven? This is what Namu Wiki says. This says that it was right. Yeah, no, it does.
Now it's about gender. Okay.
It said that this was primarily in female online communities, and that when men started getting involved, Korean men, they took the side of the Southeast Asians because they were angry with Korean women, so they joined then. So,
Oh my
and the hand symbol was being used about in some of the stuff that I've seen. Is there a gender aspect to this? Is this an online female bitch fest? I get in trouble for saying that, but I'm just trying to provoke something from
Oh
you.
my gosh.
I think definitely yes, because Day Six, a boy group, and most of the fans were I'm assuming, but women, I guess.
No, it's actually different from
Really?
what I heard.
Cool.
The gorilla tweet?
Yeah.
It was tweeted by a man. the comparison between gorilla and Southeast Asian women,
Mhm.
it was tweeted by a man, actually. Like
Wow.
those tweets to mock how Southeast Asian women look like and like how they've got darker skin tones. It's all coming from men.
It's just my theory,
Mhm.
but I think Korean men would look down on Southeast Asian people more than women. It's just my theory, but like some South Korean men go to Southeast Asian countries to yeah.
Just say it.
Say the word.
Am I allowed to say it?
We know the story. We know the
To
story.
meet women in
like prostitution.
yeah. Yeah.
Sexual tourism.
Yeah.
Sex tourism.
Tourism, yeah.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah. So like they might think that money can solve everything, and
Mhm.
they might think that Southeast Asian women can be they can buy them
Mhm.
with money.
Ew.
Ew, yes, ew.
Disgusting, yeah.
Disgusting, but yeah, it's just my theory, yeah.
It's interesting that this has, though, started from whether Day 6 is K-pop or not, because they're kind of like a rock band. They're a boy rock band, aren't they?
Yeah,
But,
they're boy band.
it has come from this K-pop conversation into the broader thing, and now maybe men are involved. Is a lot of it fake? So there's been some talk about these comments aren't really written by Korean people. These comments aren't really written.
Yes.
You know, there's bad actors online that they just want to watch the world burn. They just want to like throw the hand grenade in the street and run away, and that's what they're doing online. Is there a lot of bad actors in this conversation pushing things?
Absolutely, yeah. I actually saw some tweets. It was like rage baits coming from Indonesian towards Indonesian. So they just wanted to spice things up, I guess, and like make people fight each other when it's actually just Indonesian with Indonesian.
Yeah.
Yeah, sucks.
How online are you?
Do you want to see my screen time? It's like
Chronically.
I'm just curious about like your other, because I've only known the physical Gabby, and now I'm getting a real sense of your depth of knowledge of online behavior.
even if I came home at 12,
Yeah.
like 12 a.m., I'll still be on my phone until 3 a.m.
Okay.
because that's the way I reconnect with myself.
Guys, I have a question. Do you guys use Twitter?
No, I
No, I don't.
It's just
I think
Is
But
that why?
but I did go on Twitter just to see the
Oh my
everything
God.
going on, but it was mostly TikTok actually.
I saw it
Yeah.
on TikTok. Like I
same,
looked it up
same.
because I don't have.
It's crazy on TikTok.
I'm on Twitter.
I'm on Twitter.
What
but
are
I
you
don't
on?
use it too much. I've got Twitter and TikTok and Insta and Facebook. I've got them all.
Whoa.
But I try not to use it too much because I'm busy.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about what's on TikTok.
Siblings versus Korean explained
Yeah.
rather than like the negative comments itself.
And like their
Also-
takes on it, right?
Yeah. Also, like we were talking about like other countries and other like what is it? Other countries, right? And then I also saw this TikTok of this person saying like, "Why are white people joining onto the conversation?" Did you
Ah.
see that?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
White people always get dragged. We don't do anything and we get dragged. Right? Come on. I feel like that Indonesian actor now.
No, actually though, no offense,
Yeah.
but some white people actually tried to butt in like to the conversation because
I think what could bring SEAblings, Southeast Asians and Koreans together once more is hate of white people.
Oh.
Get that.
Yes.
Get that.
Oh.
You know, that seems to unite a lot of people. In the
no, actually no, because Korean actually favor white people more.
They want
Oh, that's they want
white
validation.
attention, Western
Yeah.
attention,
Yeah.
but I don't know if like Western like white people rage bait us. I think we can like Korean people would
Mhm.
support Southeast Asian people.
Mhm.
I love the white attention.
Yeah.
Good. That should be a name of something. That should
Yeah,
be a
yeah.
punk band or something like that. I don't know. A
White
fashion label,
attention.
white attention.
Yeah.
So-
White Western attention.
Yeah, white attention. Yeah. How is Twitter these days? Did it turn into a right-wing cesspool, or is it okay for you? Because that's what people say. A lot of people have left Twitter; they've gone to Blue Sky or something like this. But
No, it's still okay for me.
Still
I'm
okay.
on Stan Twitter, so yeah, it's still active and alive.
I didn't think Koreans use much TikTok. I was under the assumption that Koreans were Insta and YouTube.
Actually,
Mm.
not many Korean people use TikToks.
Uh-huh.
Even myself, I didn't use it until this year.
Recently, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I started like recently using. I started using it recently.
And also, Korean people are actually not as aware as you think of
Yeah,
this
we
problem.
don't know about this
Yeah.
conflict.
I realized too, it's mostly like SEAblings, right?
I don't think it's on the news. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we know about it because it's spicy. It's almost like, do you want to look at this racist content? Do you want to look at this spicy stuff? And you're like, okay. Because how do you say no? But then you look at it and you realize what's actually happening to your mind, because even if you were like a beautifully minded person, right? If you had pure intentions and you're lovely and you phoned your grandmother every other day, you would spend some time looking at this content, and I think it would darken your soul a little bit. I know that's extravagant language, but it would generate like animosity towards this other group, and whether that's SEAblings hating the Koreans, or
I'm okay.
you've got animosity towards the bookshelf, headbutted, but I think it just spirals. I think this is not just about this story, but it's about social media, right? And it wants us to be enraged. It is rage bait,
yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
perfect.
It is rage bait.
Here's Yu Guan-soon. Here's a picture of a monkey. Here's this. It's just like there's no limit to it.
Yeah.
Actually, Yelynn said something about it. It's UTA.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
really
It
childish.
is just
So childish. Like, I saw this this tweet of a person saying like, "Oh, stop speaking in circles and squares. We don't understand that."
I also
And then,
like
they
yeah.
have like the sentence where like they put like, oh, don't to speak.
please,
Yeah,
please
I was gonna
speak
say that.
English or something.
Speak English, please.
And then
Korean
like,
accent.
some people like responded by you guys can speak English, but like you guys don't have enough money to like buy a flight ticket or whatever. Yeah,
It's always about money and like,
Yeah.
oh,
I think
Southeast
it's
Asian
like
people
a-
are poor.
It's like they really try to hit like the underlying issue of Korea. Like, it's like something that Koreans know that it's a problem, but we like 피해, like we go away from it, like we pretend like we don't see it, but like they're attacking that. That's why Koreans are like enraged, right?
There's a truth to it, but it's exaggerated and played for laughs. I shouldn't really say this, but I'm a member of a group online called Edgy Memes. Right? And it's
Like
just-
dark jokes. Well, that can be funny.
But I think there's something like what I mean to say about this, like this group of edgy memes and things like this, and I make them myself, right? Because the modern world is so sanitized and clean, and that's nice, by the way. It's nice that we've created safe spaces for people to be around, that people don't experience racist treatment. I'm a big fan of that. And at the same time, when you hear people speaking, celebrities, public figures, they often say nothing. Right? It's this managed sound bites, media training. Nothing comes out of their mouth. Jungkook gets dragged for doing a live and talking about smoking. And so
yeah.
because that's been taken away, we've sanitized culture quite a lot. I think there's still this desire for us to see that kind of, let's peek behind the curtain and look at the dark stuff a little bit. And I think that's what maybe this reveals. Yes, there are people that are genuinely angry and annoyed and have these kind of feelings. But I think for some of us, we just want to see the edgy stuff as well a little bit. That's my take on it. Maybe it's just me.
This is kind of off topic, but I think that's also the reason why podcasts are so important, because they're just so real and raw, and it just gives like a voice for like people that are behind the phones too, that don't actually have like a space where they can actually relate and talk about their feelings.
Is there a big Indonesian community here in Korea? There is at Hanyang University.
Oh yeah.
So many at Hanyang.
No, I don't think there's an
No.
Indonesian community in Hanyang University.
There's not.
There's not.
But there is like this community called Perpika,
Okay.
Persatuan Pelajar Indonesia di Korea. So it's basically like,
It's like Korea.
yeah, like Indonesian students in Korea. It's called Perpika in short. So it's it consists of Indonesian basically studying abroad, and we just need somewhere to belong. I'm not a part of that group, but we're gonna eat together TMI.
Are Indonesia? I'm just on Indonesia at the moment. Is Indonesian culture and Korean culture very different? Because, say, for example, if you're in Western Europe, if you're in France, right? If you're in Germany, you might look the other side of the world and you say, "Oh, look, there's Indonesia, there's South Korea. They must be quite close. They're both in Asia, right?" How different is Indonesian culture and South Korean culture?
Do people like kind of look down on you because you're Korean in Indonesia?
No, that never.
I think it's kind of a privilege, don't you think?
Actually, yeah.
Oh.
If like I'm in Indonesia, they would like not like look high on me, but like they would be like, "Oh, you're Korean. You're so pretty. You're like, you know."
Because I've got a Korean friend growing up in my junior high and senior high, and he was loved by everyone because, oh my god, we've got a Korean person in our school. We're so cool, like that.
And I guess that love of Koreans, like Nuri was saying when she was young, it wasn't cool to be Korean, like pre-Psy, pre-Big Bang, Blackpink and all of this kind of stuff. But now it's very cool to be Korean. Right? People love anything Korean. Put a K in front of it and let's go. And I guess maybe that builds up a bit of resentment or jealousy amongst Indonesians or Filipinos. Like, hey, we're also cool. Why don't we talk about Filipino beauty and dramas and Indonesian? This is a stupid question. Tell me about Indonesian media culture, pop music, dramas. Like, I know about K-dramas, I know about American dramas, I know about Chinese dramas. This is the most stupid thing I've ever said. Do you have dramas in Indonesia?
Of course we do. Of course we do. We've got like those cringy ones that only mothers watch, only like middle-aged women watch. But we've also got good films, high quality movies. I really recommend Sore. You should watch Sore. So Sore means evening. No, afternoon, like the moment after sunset.
Dusk.
Yeah, and yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good Indonesia cinema.
Okay. Tell me about the music. So Sore should have a look at as a movie. Any music?
Music.
I would recommend listening to Tulus.
Yeah, Tulus is good. Tulus is nice. Tulus means sincerity.
Yelynn, have you ever heard any Indonesian music?
Yeah, I have heard Indonesian music, but only when I was in Indonesia. Not like intentionally. I don't listen to Indonesian music intentionally, but yeah, I've been to Indonesia twice and I probably listened to it. I only went to Bali, so I don't know about other.
Did you have fun?
Yeah, of
Did
course.
you go with Nuri?
Once I went alone and
With me.
Okay.
They were in Bali at the same time as me, but we couldn't meet.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
That sounds like a very girl thing to do. Well, you're here too. Oh, like, how would you not do that if you're there at the same time?
Why did you not see me?
Oh dear.
I think you don't want to see me, Nuri.
Oh, we're gonna talk after this.
Yeah, we should.
I think I just did something bad, Gabby. Did you see that? I don't know what I did. I was just curious about going to Indonesia and Bali. I've been there. What I love about having so many Indonesian students at Hanyang is that they love it when I learn a little bit about their culture or when I wear the batik and they're doing the events and things like that. They don't drag me for cultural appropriation or something. They're like, Professor, come and wear our clothes, right? And stand outside our booth and put this on. And I love how warm everything is. You know, there's no bad feelings. There's no animosity. It's just embracing culture. And I think it starts sometimes, you know, with music and food and clothes. Politics is very hard. Right, when you get into that, but I don't know, maybe K-pop is a little bit scary.
But a thing about Indonesia, I think we regard all races, like all kinds of people, as a friend. Like white people are our friend. Korean. Wait.
I came off wrong, Gabby.
What race are you?
No. Please got this.
Is it white attention?
Yeah.
White attention.
No.
White attention.
How do I put this? But I think Indonesian people.
So humble.
Yeah, we're
That's
so
what I love
humble.
about Indonesia.
So
Philippines, yeah.
yeah, we
Yeah.
call foreigners not like 외국인. We call foreigners like bule. Oh my god, your husband is bule. That means you've succeeded in finding
the gene pool.
finding a husband. Like you're gonna thrive in your genes and those stuff. That's
What?
regarded positive. If you've like got a
Bule.
yeah, bule,
Bule. And bule means
foreigner.
foreigner.
Usually white.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. In Singapore, they use angmo.
angmo.
Angmo is like white guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But they, which is interesting because in Korea they just have like 외국인, like you said, it's like foreigner. But in parts of Southeast Asia, you have different types of foreigner. Yeah, okay. What I found really interesting about Indonesia, I'm not sure, you might go quiet now, we've got the cameras on, is that on your identity cards, you have which religion you are.
Yeah.
I mean, there will be people listening. It blew my mind when I found out this. And what blew
I
my
told
mind
you
the
that.
most, is because it made me realize how little I knew about the world and how big the world is. You know, you think everywhere is the same. And I realized, or I learned from Gabby and then other people, that in Indonesia, on your identity card, you have to choose a religion, irrespective of your personal beliefs, to be identified with.
Mm-hmm.
Can you say something about that? Is there anything more to add? Because this is like, wow, really? It's interesting. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but it's like, wow, people do that.
Yeah.
What does your one say, Gabby?
Well, I've got friends who are atheists and like agnostics where they don't want to actually get involved in any kind of religious activities, but they still usually no, most of the times they will follow their family's religion like out of like it's inherent. They have to follow their family's religion.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Culturally religious
Yes.
as well. Yeah. Dabin, do you have any thoughts on this? It might be a bit too spicy for you, but I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah, I think like so like for some people, if I don't know, if like like if they don't want to be involved in like one of like those religious activity, there's like a saying, Gabby, like agama KTP agama, something like
Agama
that.
KTP.
Agama di KTP doang, something
Yeah,
like that.
I told you that as well. Like they're only religious on their identity card,
Yeah,
but they're
they
not really practicing that.
that really exists because like you know you don't have any other option but to choose one, right?
Right.
So like just
So
you
do you
want the card.
does that make people more not religious, you think?
Well,
I don't think that has any connection though, no correlation with that.
no, but definitely like some of my friends have this kind of religious trauma because it's usually enforced to you. You have to have a religion.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're gonna get like disowned by your family or something.
And like we have like religion classes as well. at
Yeah,
school.
we've got religion classes. You can choose.
Philippines too.
Yeah.
But
Like
yeah,
Indonesian thing or like Philippines too.
yeah, but do you guys have to choose?
Yeah, we've got to pick and choose.
Because we don't get to choose. It's just established that we take a Catholic, it's called theology, or Christian living.
Really?
So everyone's required to take that. So even if even if I'm Korean, even if you're Indian or Chinese, you have to take that class because it's mandatory in the Philippine education.
Oh, that's kind of similar to Indonesia, but I didn't grow up in that kind of school. But one of my friends, they went to a how do you call it, sekolah negeri, like state,
Public school.
public school, and that kind of school, not all, but some of those schools, they only provide Islam classes. So even if you're Buddhist, even if you're Christian, you still have to sit and pass that class.
Yeah. Indonesia, is it? It's very Muslim. I'm not sure of the percentages. But was it?
Majority.
It's the majority.
Muslim.
It's a majority.
So there is a cultural, there is like a deep cultural difference. I'm just trying to get at that. Like Yelynn is sitting here going, wow, because in Korean high school you have to do coding at Hanyang.
Yeah, but some schools offer religious studies too. especially if it's a Christian school. And also, those schools are public schools too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It feels very strange. If somebody told me I have to do something, then I'm just always going to rebel against it. Like when my parents were saying, "David, you're going to play golf," I hate golf now. Choose religion. Also, I'm very taken by the idea that Korean people, there's this idea of you believe in a religion or you don't, and I think that's kind of like low-key Western.
Mm-hmm.
Judaism, Christianity, Islam, it's not Western, it's Middle Eastern. But in Korea, people will go to a temple and you'll ask them, like, are you Buddhist? And they're like, no, I just like the vibes. It looks good on the Instagram. I just came here for the weekend. People see religion a little bit more fluidly here, I think, than in there. We're meant to be talking about racism online. We're talking about religion now. That's what happens when you speak with an old guy. He's like, tell me about this. Tell me about this. Right?
I hope this video doesn't get taken down by YouTube.
Why would it get taken down?
I don't know.
Talking about religion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've got more to worry about from Nuri's high comments and things like that. We'll get there. What are we missing from this conversation? So before we get to the end, we've talked a little bit about this, online thing. We've tried to talk about identity. Is there anything that we've missed or we need to say about SEAblings versus Koreans?
Beauty standards.
Go.
Okay. So with K-pop and K-drama, I feel like the beauty standard, it's, how do I put it? Korea has imposed this kind of a certain standard on how women and men both should look and should present themselves. And it got to a point where I know some people, they purposefully choose like 2 to 3 shades lighter, like foundation shade lighter than their own skin.
It's like so common in Korea. Like, not to throw shade, but you see Korean girls, their like face is white and their neck is brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that quite a bit actually. Yeah, the brown neck.
You can kind of blend it in, right? but yeah, I think that's also an underlying beauty standard expectation.
Yeah. And that also, I think it got to a point where it hold on, it connects with the racism and how Korean see Southeast Asian women and men as factory workers, always working under the sun and like darker skin tones, even though they were born with those skin tones. And so yeah, I just wanted to talk about that.
I think overall, I mean, not every Korean is not every Korean is racist, and not every Southeast Asian is not racist. Like, both countries, I mean, both regions of the world, there are racist people, there are non-racist people. But I think this issue in itself just generalizes so much. It's just a huge generalization wherein it makes Southeast Asian people think that all Koreans are racist. And it makes Korean people think that, oh, like all Southeast Asians don't like Koreans, or like they have a bad view of us. Like, I think it's just too much generalization. And if we just remove like the racism and everything aside, it's not a big deal. Like, it shouldn't be a big deal is what I meant. Yeah, it shouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah.
It's K-pop's fault. It all started, I say this, but like it started from a K-pop concert and it's just blown up on there. K-pop Twitter, Gabby will tell you about it, is hardcore, man.
Yeah.
The reason
Sounds so scary.
Yeah, but it's also, you get this idea, don't you, of, for example, Blackpink, this is just an example, Blinks or Blackpink fans will disguise themselves as BTS fans, but then go and talk smack about it. And so they like
Rage bait.
Yeah, they rage bait, or they go into clandestinely, like subterfugely, into other groups and pretend. So I think there might be a bit of this happening here. I think it might be K-pop gone wrong. It's a very big generalization. You say, no, David, it's bigger than that, but that's where it started. What's your take on everything we've had, Yelynn?
So I think some people might ask if there was like a tension behind this issue. I would like to point out that like I think it's interesting because Korean people obviously had and have stereotypes of Southeast Asian people, but I don't think it's like the same in Southeast Asian countries. Do they have negative perceptions of Korean people?
Not really.
So it's not mutual,
Not
right?
anymore. Yeah.
It's usually positive in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Right, Dabin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's always positive about
I mean,
all
like
about
how
Korea.
Southeast Asian
View
view
Korea.
Korea.
Yeah.
That's
Before
always
this whole
positive.
thing, by the way.
So I think it's very interesting because it's a one-way racism. Now it's not. It's everyone's like rage baiting each other, but historically if we look at histories, then it's just like one way history. I don't know if it's related to this
How did
topic.
it begin? Like,
What do you mean? Oh yeah.
yeah, looking down on Southeast Asia. Why? How did it happen?
Hallyu.
No, I think it's been more
Really?
than
Vietnam War.
yeah, Vietnam War.
Going back to the Vietnam
Yeah.
War and a little bit before that. I mean, Vietnam War was 55 to 75, and South Korea had the second most number of troops in that conflict
Yes.
behind the United States. That would have taken a lot of people there to go and earn money. And South Korea is accused of doing some very bad things
Yeah.
in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm curious. I think you've already answered this, but SEAblings, Southeast Asians like being grouped together because if you try to talk about Northeast Asia, like Japan, Korea, China together, they're like, no,
No.
Korean. You Asian,
No.
no, I'm Korean, motherfucker. Right? It's this attitude, right? But is there genuinely like a SEAblings, let's go together? Yeah.
But I think we only unite when there's a problem with us versus
Yeah,
another
there's a
country,
mutual enemy.
right? Yeah, but we're not friends if it's like Miss World, like world.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
Mhm.
When it comes to like Miss International, Miss World, Miss Universe, the comment section, bro. Oh,
I think it's the same for us.
Mhm.
Japan, Korea, and China. There was like
it's always tight, right?
conflict between black people and Northeast Asian people. They came together to like to support each other against black people. I've seen the
What?
memes and
I didn't know
there was
that.
there was a
I didn't know
conflict
that.
between them too.
Nationalism is not dead. We're still drawn into these identities and groups and things like that, and we get pushed. I'm reading I'm teaching as well, this book at the moment by Kwame Anthony Appiah, who's British Ghanaian. And his book is called Cosmopolitanism, which means that I'm a person of the cosmos. I love this idea, right? And it's great to have cultures and individual things and hear the language, right? And hear you guys speak Indonesian. Sounds wonderful to me. And I want to eat the foods. But there's also an idea that we are all like the same species, right? We are all the same kind of thing. We're just different. In our case, very different, but we're different reflections of the same thing. We're different copies. We all fell from the same apple tree, just from different branches somewhere. I don't know. But that's how I've always approached nationalism. Perhaps, I think being British, we're not meant to be too nationalistic. Like growing up, it's not cool to, come on, England. Yeah, sorry. You're not allowed to do it too much. It's British. I think it's the same if you're German. It's the wars and things like that. We take it back. I guess perhaps, guys, bringing this towards the end, towards a close, I'm curious about two things. One is what makes the world a better place? How do we? What comes next in all of this, right? Or will the internet be the internet forever? And then sort of like some closing thoughts or ideas or messages for all of this.
I've been watching Singles Inferno season 5.
Like,
So
I say, you look like someone that would watch Singles Inferno. Yeah. That's
What does that mean,
that mean?
Professor?
What does that
look like
mean?
someone that would watch Singles Inferno.
Anyway, I love one of the cast, Chemi Nasu, and she's actually a Miss Earth, right?
Miss Earth.
And
Birth.
yeah,
Okay.
she once said that what we need right now is empathy, and I really Yeah, I agree with her that we need to empathize with each other more, and to do so, I think we need to understand each other more, and yeah, in a sincere way.
My sister-in-law loves Singles Inferno, right? So it's a positive, but she's always trying to tell me about it, and I'm like, tell me something about season 5.
Season 5 was about Cheminasu. I think she ate it.
Is Lee Myung-bak's grandson?
Oh,
in one-
it's
is
just
he in that?
it wasn't
It's a rumor.
Yeah,
right?
it was a rumor.
It's a rumor.
It turned out to be not true.
Yeah.
But it looked quite similar.
Yeah, very similar.
Like,
So
kind of
similar.
Resembled
Trump
a lot.
rat face. But it is. Come on, that was the thing. But yeah, okay. I agree with empathy. Have a look at the photo. You see, I'm not too far away.
Who?
Yeah, you're not though.
Yeah. And any final thoughts, Nuri?
Yeah.
And
this
can we
is-
hear you speak some Tagalog as well before you go?
Oh,
Oh.
my God.
Do you have like any idiom in Tagalog?
I don't really listen to Filipino music much, but I listen to it time to time when I'm in the Philippines.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. What do I
I don't know
say?
where that came from, but yeah, okay.
But
Any final thoughts, Nuri?
yeah, so quite contrary to what Yelynn said, but it's
We need less empathy,
do you
more
mean?
hate.
it's more serious, but I just want to say with everything going on in this world, just we're worried about the wrong things, guys, right? We can always be sarcastic, have banter, but also we shouldn't hit on sensitive topics where it will hurt someone, especially if you have like relatives that are actually like experience those things. And yeah, and sa mga sa mga Filipino fans, actually in the first podcast, I think one of your Filipino fans added me on Instagram.
Woo.
Whoa.
So follow me, Filipino fans. Mahal
Are you
kita.
self-promoting?
I love the Philippines. Yeah, I'm always very proud to say I'm from the
Yeah,
Philippines.
yeah.
And to the Koreans and to the foreigners, like I just want to tell you guys, like I hope you actually explore the Philippines, get to know about the country, because it's not dangerous. It's not what you think it is. It's not what you see in the movies. It's actually like really nice. We have cities, right? We have malls. So yeah. So I visit the Philippines.
Is there an element of you? I'm not sure if I read your notes wrong, and I'll cut it out if it's the wrong question. That you were kind of quite happy that Korea fucked around and found out in this situation with SEAblings.
Oh, yeah. So definitely, like I had the thought, like finally, Korea, you get what you like. You get what you deserve. You know. That's kind of me.
As a Korean.
Korean, but I mean, I felt like it was bound to happen at some point, right? So, yeah, learn your lesson.
I think it wouldn't have this conflict, right? So, no, that's from reading your notes and seeing what you did, right? But I think this conflict would have been very different. For example, if it was between the United States and South Korea, right? Or if it was between, I think the SEAblings, the Southeast Asians, they're allowed to do a bit more in terms of the pushback, in terms of the use of historical. I don't know why I think this, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think if it was powerful Western countries doing this to Korea, it would be seen as kind of, like punching down.
Yeah.
Already I'm making a statement there which seems problematic, but I don't know. It feels like there was the SEAblings, they used their opportunity to say, right, you messed with us, right? Take this, take this, take this. It's kind of a feeling I got from it.
I think it's because of the history with the slavery and stuff that white people actually did. So, yeah, it's not the same, right?
Any slavery in Indonesia? Korea had loads of slaves here. Do you have any slavery in Indonesia,
Oh my
Gabby?
god.
Yeah, during colonization and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Like,
China had quite a few slaves as well.
mm.
Any
Let's not get into
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Everyone,
religion,
everyone.
slavery, right?
Sit tight.
Okay. Let's go back to Singles Inferno. Any final message, Gabby?
Okay, so since you like Indonesian language very much, I'm gonna say something like an idiom in Indonesia. We've got di mana bumi dipijak, di situ langit dijunjung. So it actually directly translates to where the earth is stepped on, there the sky is upheld. So it's basically about respecting each other. Wherever you go, whether you're a foreigner, whether you are a native or like a local, just be respectful with each other and don't nudge people around you on the subway or like
Please.
or like whenever you go to a concert on a different country on a different country, don't violate their rules because the rules were made for like safety measures. And so also I would like to say stereotyping is really bad because like Islamophobia, religious phobia, homophobia, and those kind of things actually rooted from stereotyping, like stigma and how a certain way we perceive people. I think it's the worst.
For claustrophobia.
Literally.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Dad jokes.
Beautifully said. Dabin, did you have any final words just before?
Final word?
Yeah, like any. They've all given such lovely messages. They're all doing, be empathy, be nice to people.
Be understanding and be kind towards like each other. Yeah, I think that's like that. I think that's the message that I would want to say.
Okay.
I
don't understand this.
This?
Yeah.
It's like clapping.
Clapping.
But
Oh,
in
it's
tiny.
Like
Yes, yeah. I just learned something. Thank you.
this. Like
This.
like how do you say?
Usually girls have
Long
very
nails, so,
long
like,
nails.
click.
So
Yeah.
So when someone's doing well, when someone's good, you can.
Yeah.
when someone's eating,
show
like
support.
you ate.
Yeah.
That language is hard for me. She's cooking, that's good. She's cooked, that's bad, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ate and left no crumbs.
Yes.
She ate and left crumbs. So,
That's the bad one, by the way.
yeah, she ate and left crumbs.
No.
This is so peak.
This is so big.
There's sometimes I'm online as well. Thank you for going through this all with me. It takes a lot of courage. Ladies and gentlemen, to those listening and watching this, I hope that you understand that we've sometimes used jokes, and I use a lot of humor actually in my lectures and when I'm speaking to people, because it's just the way I was raised, and it's the way I grow close to people. To my closest friends, I say the most offensive, horrible things. And it's a sign for me of friendship. And people I don't know and I don't like, I'm really polite to them. Hi, how are you? That's great. Thank you. So if there was anything that was said today that you weren't quite sure about or that made you feel not quite comfortable, please understand that the people here have got wonderful, beautiful hearts. And when the microphones and the cameras on it, it's quite difficult to speak eloquently. It's not easy. Very proud of all of you. Gabby gave that love. In Indonesian does sound nice to me. I'm not sure why, but they all sound nice. Wherever the earth is stepped on, that's under the sky, something like that.
It is where the sky is upheld.
The sky is upheld, yes. I was taught by my friend Rania Hafez, Lebanese Muslim woman. She taught me the expression, nothing that is human is alien to me, which means that humans are all over the world. And if it's a human thing doing it, then I can understand it because I'm also a human. So, are we good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.